Shaman is my least favorite class in the game. Wait, no, don't cook off yet. My retention rate! That was back in 1.0, before the ability tree was added to the game. I haven't actually played Shaman in a bit over 2 years now, but recently the class has received a lot of changes, mainly towards one archetype in particular, that being Oly Summoner. So I wrote this part of the script like 3 months ago, before the Oly rework. My bad! Summoner was not in a very good state for a while, but ever since the rework, I've been seeing Summoner players in raids layout more, so I decided, why not? Let's play Summoner for 10 hours to see if it's any good now. Summoner, as the name suggests, can summon things.
Wow!
I'm so good at writing scripts. Let's go over each summon. First up, we have puppets, which are tiny gremlin guys that periodically spawn from your totems and throw projectiles. With aspect of the Beacon Legion, you can have up to 9 puppets max. And before you hit me with the actually, you can increase this number further with Shepherd. However, that node,
No.
Summoner. Enemy.
Where?
it has the same problem as Diffusion and Harvester, where it's dependent on the amount of other mobs in the area, meaning it ranges from broken to damn, this doesn't do anything. It was the original 3rd red node for the archetype before it got sentenced to the Shadow Realm. Next up we have the effigies. Close range summons that automatically spawn when you cast a totem. Their duration is tied to the totem that summon it, meaning if the totem were to run out, they die. Summoner can have up to 4 totems with a mythic aspect, meaning 4 effigies total. They also try to push mobs toward your totems, which is neat I guess, but yeah, good luck with that one, buddy. And yep, that's it. That's all the summons there are. Until 3 months ago when they introduced a 3rd kind of summon, the hummingbird carvings. And to summon them, you know, they just exist, I guess. The birds give you a passive velocity buff that can be further increased with soaring wing beats, a node that also gives you some jump height.
But wait! There's more!
By holding shift and casting Hall, you can send your birds out to attack. However, while they're attacking, they do not apply their passive effects, and after a few seconds the birds automatically return to you, but you can also cast Shift Hall at any point to recall them. And that's all the summons. Oh yeah, wait, they made the totem count as a summon as well. Okay, well, congrats Summoner, you officially have more summons than Trapper now, I guess. Anyways, one of the problems people had with Summoner from a gameplay perspective was how passive it was. You only had 2 types of summons and you didn't really have any way to interact with them outside of Bullwhip, which is an ability that allows your summons to focus any targets you hit with your uproot while also increasing the damage they deal. But I can't talk about Bullwhip without mentioning the other thing, Lunatic Mask. While wearing the mask, you gain a 35% damage bonus and the mana cost of aura is decreased by 30% in exchange for taking more damage. However, masks replace uproot entirely, meaning you can only pick one or the other. So, which one is better? I've played with both for a few hours and I've determined that I do not know. My actual answer though is that it just kinda depends, I guess. They both have their own advantages. Bullwhip is pretty useful in Null since it helps make sure your summons are actually targeting Orpheon and not some random guy. And it also makes dealing with crystallines a lot easier. And Lunatic Mask is just really good. Not only does it give a higher damage increase, that increase applies to all types of damage, not just your summons, meaning it affects Aura Spell, which also gets a 30% cost reduction with the mask. This has really good synergy with another one of Summoner's nodes, Invigorating Wave. Invigorating Wave makes Aura increase the attack speed of your summons, and gives any players hit by it plus 3 mana. So at 4 totems, a single Aura gives you 12 mana. Combine this with Panic Zealot, a weapon with insane spell cost reduction, and you can do this. Summoner can also easily grab regeneration, which makes your totems heal players within its range. This combination of healing and mana printing provide pretty good support for an archetype meant for single target DPS. Invigorating Wave is probably one of my favorite Summoner nodes. I'm kind of a sucker for spell spam, and the amount of crowd control you get with 4 totem Aura Sim is kinda crazy. It also introduces a bit of extra micro as you want to make sure your summons have the attack speed buff. But Invigorating Wave and Bullwhip was kinda all you had when it came to how you could interact or control your summons. So to address this problem, the rework introduced Commander. By casting Aura while holding shift, you can toggle Commander. And while Commander is active, your puppets will group up behind you, attack faster, and have increased accuracy. And thank fuck for that ass one, because these guys have actual Stormtrooper aim sometimes.
What are you aiming at?
And while the ability is inactive, the meter will charge whenever your summons deal damage, which is really easy to do, especially since your totem tick counts towards this. I really like Commander. Being able to control your puppets through your own movement is a really cool idea, and it makes me feel more in control over these very dumb, mindless, 2 brain cell creatures. And that's about it for Summoner's major nodes. So let me give my closing thoughts and talk a bit about my experience playing the archetype. I honestly had a lot of fun playing Summoner. I know there's a lot of people who aren't really a fan of all the shift casts, but I think the micromanagement is a really interesting part of the playstyle. Sending out your birds to attack, toggling Commander on and off, bullwhipping, and casting Aura for Invigorating Wave. All of these combined make for a unique playstyle that feels a lot more involved when compared to before the rework. But is Summoner actually any good now? Well, good is subjective. If your definition of good is does it deal Fallen or 35 Winded Arcanist or 7 quote Trick Shade deals a DPS, fuck no! But in that case, well, nothing else is good in this game, and I think that's a very unrealistic standard to have. Summoner is fine. You have many different sources of damage from Aura and all of your summons, as well as damage and attack speed boosts that you can stack together. And if you're able to combine everything, you can reach pretty respectable DPS while having the ability to heal and print mana for yourself and other players. But that is assuming you hit everything, which probably isn't the case, since against moving targets your puppets can miss and you might have to reposition your totems to hit your auras. It's not too bad in Orpheon since the boss doesn't move that much besides the charge, but in TNA it feels a bit more noticeable. And well, the one raid where the boss is stationary, Summoner is basically unplayable since your summons can fall off the platform so they can't hit the boss. And regarding the summons, I'm a big fan of the puppets and what Commander allows you to do with them. And the extra mobility that the birds provide is very nice, especially since I'm a D1 Hall hater. But the effigies on the other hand, they feel a bit lacking. The pushing doesn't really do anything in bosses since most of them have crowd control immunity. In terms of interaction, puppets have Commander, birds inherently require shift casting, but effigies kinda just exist. So I hope one day maybe another node gets added down the line that does something with them. Overall though, I really enjoyed Summoner. It's a solid generalist class with very unique mechanics and several different ways you can play. It may not be a meta DPS or meta support, but I don't care. And honestly, I'm looking forward to see what else Shaman has in store. Also, I won that by the way.